Welcome. What are we doing today? We are looking at Unit 13 of the Level 6 Diploma in Construction Site Management, and the title of this unit is Ensuring that Work Activities and Resources Meet Project Work Requirements in the Workplace. This is an introductory video for this unit. If you want to go more in depth about this unit, please gain access to the audio podcast guidance. Well, let's have an overview of this unit. It's been registered with a credit value of 11, which means it's quite a large unit. Credit values anything from 8 to 15 for each unit. And there are 8 learning outcomes. Sometimes there's 6, sometimes there's more. 8 is quite a large amount of learning outcomes for a particular unit. A learning outcome is something that a candidate or a learner should know or be able to evidence as part of a learning or assessment process. So there are 8 learning outcomes in this particular unit. So let's march on with the unit overview. Looking at the overview of the unit, I believe that in essence this unit is all about, at the end of the day, finishing on time, to cost and program safely. Now, the title of the unit is Ensuring that Work Activities and Resources Meet Project Work Requirements in the Workplace. What it's really about is finishing on time, to cost and program safely, and how is that achieved? Well, then we get into the title of the unit. It is achieved by ensuring in advance and as they are needed, the necessary resources for work activities are present, adequate and fit for purpose. Resources are people, plant, materials, skill and knowledge base, management and supervision requirements. It's all about knowing what is to happen and planning the resources to program, reacting correctly to issues as they arise, gaining access to alternative information and resources, seeking advice and instruction, managing the program in the short and the long term, monitoring the program in the short and the long term, and being one step ahead of the game with regards to program threats and opportunities in order to keep the works or project to program and cost safely. That's quite a bit of a spiel. I think if you were to listen to that again, you'd see it's all about good management. As I said, there are 8 learning outcomes. Let's have a look at those learning outcomes, and we'll give a few suggestions for the types of product evidence. Of course, within your NVQ, you'll be assessed on 2 criteria: what you know, what you do. What you do is evidence in your product, evidence, site documentation, qualifications, references, etc. What you know is evidenced in your candidate statements. To gain a full understanding of what you should be including in your candidate statements, please refer to the audio podcasts in this section. Let's move on to the learning outcomes. Number 1. Identify major activities, determine the resources needed from the information available, and prepare draft programs and schedules. That's learning outcome number 1. Types of product information that could be used in this: pre-start meeting minutes, construction phase health and safety plans, scheme of works, bill of quants, contractor programs and drawings. So you can use those types of evidence in its first learning outcome. Number 2. Evaluate alternative methods, resources and systems in order to select the best solution to meet project requirements. So evaluate means there's been some thinking going on and some discussion going on. So Where would we do that? We would do that perhaps at design meetings, so design meeting minutes, site meeting minutes, types of information that we would refer to with method statements. You may even have a discussion with the contractor at pre-start meeting, so their meeting minutes, RFIs, as I've mentioned, project meeting minutes, and client meeting minutes. So we can see there's a lot of meeting minutes to be referenced in this unit. Number 3, obtain clarification and advice where resources needed are not available. Clarification be gained with the use of RFIs, requests for information, site instructions, contract instructions, architect's instructions, site or project meeting minutes, email correspondence. These are the communication paper trails that we would use when obtaining clarification and advice where needed. Number 4, analyse the activities against project requirements and the requirements of external factors. So when and where do you analyse the activities against project requirements and requirements of external factors, meetings, etc.? Let's have a look. Works, material, labour plant schedule. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Works, material and labour plant schedules. Method statements. Environmental surveys. Client preferences as stipulated in emails. Contracts, scheme of works, construction phase health and safety plans, and even weather records from a site diary. Number 5. Determine how long each activity will take, identify activities which will influence each other, and sequence them logically and realistically so they make the best use of the resources available. Now, for this learning outcome, to me, it speaks very strongly of programs, pre-start meeting minutes, planning meeting minutes, programs as I've mentioned, but with critical paths highlighted, and site meeting minutes. We're talking again the same types of evidence again and again for this unit, so please select wisely, because we're only after 3 or 4 pieces of pertinent pieces of evidence for each unit. You can use more if you wish, but I'm just trying to save you some work. Number 6. Ensure that the production of detailed programs and schedules of planned activities which are consistent with the complexity of the project. Again, a planning meeting minutes where perhaps yourself and senior staff, project managers, project directors sat down to draft detailed programs. You might have some other examples in your site meeting minutes, site diary page with even things to do list. Moving on, number 7. Develop a system to monitor the works program and schedules, implement it and use the results to improve production and planning. Again, programs, progress or site meeting minutes, contractor progress reports, site completion survey reports, snagging sheets, trade handover certificates. What we're after here is evidence that you have monitored and managed the works so that at all times you know the approximate development of your site or works and can answer any questions about the progress at any stage if asked. Number 8. Identify alterations to the works programs and schedules to ensure they will meet changed circumstances. Same pieces of evidence again, progress meeting minutes. Another new piece, non-conforming notices, updated programs. So I trust that's given you a good overview of this unit. If in doubt, listen to it again, listen to the audio podcasts, plan your candidate statements, plan carefully which pieces of evidence you're going to use, and index them and reference them as suggested in the tip of the day that I mentioned earlier. I trust this is helpful. Take your time, give yourself and your studies the time they deserve.